Jesus is speaking directly to your soul right now. Even as your mind doubts and your heart wonders if this moment is really meant for you. And he wants you to pause everything else because what's about to be revealed is not just another word. It is a divine interruption, a sacred appointment, a message heaven has been trying to deliver to your heart for a long, long time. This message is not just meant to comfort you. It is meant to shift you. It is meant to shake open the doors that fear kept closed, to break the invisible chains that disappointment wrapped around your joy, and to awaken you to a truth that heaven has always known about you, even when the world tried to make you forget. Jesus says, "There is something I placed in your spirit before you were even born, before the pain, before the trauma, before they left, before you cried yourself to sleep. There was a light I wove into your soul with my hands, a light that cannot be extinguished by heartbreak, betrayal, or even the deep ache of wondering if your prayers have been lost in the silence. And now, that light is flickering again. That light is responding to this moment. Because even though you've heard 1,000 voices, even though you've walked through seasons where it felt like everyone else got the miracle except you, something in you has refused to fully give up, and heaven has noticed. The tears you cried that no one saw were not wasted. The nights you stayed up trying to hold everything together while pretending you were fine were recorded. The times you gave to others when you had nothing left were written down in the language of eternity. Jesus says, "I have been closer than your breath, watching with a compassion that the world cannot comprehend, standing beside you in moments you thought you were completely alone." You see, he wasn't waiting for you to be perfect before he sent this message. He wasn't looking for the cleaned up version of you. He has always been drawn to the truth of you, the messy, hurting, honest parts you've tried to hide. That's why this message was timed for now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now, because you've reached the moment in your journey where a divine message will not just encourage you, it will reroute you. Jesus wants you to understand that your heart is about to be filled with a kind of love, a kind of reassurance, a kind of peace that cannot be faked, cannot be stolen, and cannot be explained by anything earthly. The message is already being written on your spirit, and though you cannot fully see it yet, you can feel it forming in the atmosphere. Your chest has been heavy lately, not just with stress, but with spiritual pressure, the weight of something heaven is trying to birth through you. And he wants you to know that it is not your imagination. You are not going crazy. What you've been sensing is real. That tug you feel in your soul is heaven inviting you into the next chapter of your destiny. Jesus says, "You have cried long enough over what you lost. You have blamed yourself long enough for what didn't work. Now it is time to receive. You have carried so many people. Now I will carry you." This is the beginning of something you didn't even know you needed. A new kind of restoration. A reversal of years of emotional drought. But this time, it won't be built on your strength. It will be built on surrender, on your willingness to believe that Jesus hasn't forgotten you, that you are still in the story, and that what is coming is so tailor-made for your soul that when it arrives, you will feel like you are finally breathing again after years of spiritual suffocation. And the most beautiful part, Jesus isn't just sending a blessing. He is sending understanding, a divine clarity that will allow you to see why certain things fell apart, why certain people had to leave, why certain delays were actually shields and not denials. And this clarity will unlock a joy you haven't felt in years. The kind of joy that isn't loud, but steady. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, but sits in your chest like a quiet anchor in the middle of chaos. Jesus says, prepare your heart. What's coming is not small. What's coming will make sense of the suffering. He says this is the moment heaven begins to answer not just your most recent prayer, but the ones you whispered years ago and forgot you even prayed. Your heart is about to receive something sacred. Stay open. Stay present. The message that will change your life is already on its way. And now that your heart has been stirred and your spirit has been awakened, Jesus is drawing even closer to you, not with judgment, not with shame, but with a holy gentleness that wraps around your most fragile places like healing light. Because he knows what you've endured behind your smiles, and he knows that even now, as this message enters your life, part of you still wonders if it's really safe to hope again. If it's safe to open that part of yourself that's been locked behind doors of silence, betrayal, and broken promises. But Jesus says, yes, beloved, it is safe. I am the door, and I am here now. You see, what is being released into your spirit isn't just a message. It's a spiritual code, a divine confirmation, a whisper from eternity that bypasses the noise of the world and anchors directly into your soul, into that sacred place inside you that never stopped believing even when your circumstances begged you to give up. This is why you've been feeling so much pressure lately. Not because you're being punished, but because something within you is stretching to make room for what heaven has already released with your name on it. Jesus says, you are being expanded to receive what I have already appointed. You've been carrying burdens that were never yours to bear alone, walking through seasons where your strength kept everyone else alive, even as your own heart quietly bled beneath the surface. But now the shift has come. This is a divine reversal moment, a spiritual flip in the atmosphere, where what was once withheld will now be revealed, and what once felt delayed will now begin to unfold rapidly. Jesus is not asking you to figure it all out. He's asking you to open your heart to what is already making its way toward you. A healing that doesn't just patch over wounds, but rewrites the meaning of everything you've suffered. And the moment you start to receive this message, not with your mind, but with your soul, you will begin to notice subtle signs. People you haven't thought about in years suddenly entering your thoughts. Dreams that feel more vivid and emotional than ever. Songs that echo words you needed when you were at your lowest. Numbers that repeat until you can't ignore them anymore. And in all of this, Jesus says, I am guiding you. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. You're not imagining the divine patterns. Heaven is laying down a breadcrumb trail that will lead you from confusion into clarity. But to walk this path, you must be willing to leave behind the weight of shame, the illusion of control, and the false belief that your past disqualifies you from what is holy. Jesus says, you were chosen even when you felt discarded. You were loved even when you felt invisible. You were protected in ways you will only understand later, when the full picture is revealed. And now that your spirit is rising to the sound of this truth, you are entering a new agreement with heaven, not based on fear, not rooted in religion, but born from relationship. A divine reconnection to the one who has always known you completely, yet never turn away. The pain you went through did not cancel your calling. In fact, it refined it. It deepened your compassion. It made your faith raw and real, and heaven sees that as beautiful. And Jesus says, "This is why I can trust you with what I'm sending next. Because you know how it feels to be broken, you will know how to protect the blessings that are fragile when they arrive." And yes, something is arriving. Something spiritual, something divine, something that will not just touch your mind or your emotions, but will enter the very fiber of your future and rewrite your atmosphere. The reason the warfare around you has been intense is because the enemy could feel the shift coming before you could see it. And he tried to distract you, confuse you, tempt you to give up in the middle of your preparation, but you're still here, and Jesus is proud of you, not for being perfect, but for staying present. The blessing isn't for those who never fall. The blessing is for those who rise anyway. And you, beloved, are rising. Slowly, tenderly, miraculously, you are rising. And Jesus wants you to know that as you rise, something else is falling. The illusions, the chains, the self-doubt, the guilt that was never yours to carry, the heaviness that clung to your shoulders for years. All of it is falling away, making space for the message that is not just coming to you, but through you. Because this isn't just about you. This is about the people you're going to touch with the love that is now being poured into you. Jesus says, "I am healing you so you can carry healing. I am blessing you so you can break generational curses. I am anointing you so you can walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere just by being who I created you to be." This is no ordinary moment. This is sacred. This is the divine pause before the breakthrough. And Jesus is closer than ever, whispering to your soul, "Get ready, beloved." This message is not the end. It's only the beginning of everything you've prayed for, everything you forgot you asked for, and everything heaven has stored for such a time as this. As the light of this message begins to settle in your heart, Jesus urges you to recognize that this is not merely an ordinary whisper in the noise of your daily life, but a divine transmission carried directly from the throne of heaven to your very soul, meant to awaken, to empower, and to reposition you in the narrative of your destiny that you may have believed was lost or forever delayed. But nothing is lost in God's perfect timing, and every tear you have shed has been meticulously collected and recorded, each one a seed planted in the fertile soil of your faith, waiting now to bloom into blessings more abundant than you could ever imagine. And while your mind might wrestle with doubts, questioning the why behind past trials or the uncertainty of what lies ahead, Jesus gently reminds you that he is the author of your story, and he writes with a pen dipped in mercy and grace, not with ink of condemnation or regret. And so you are invited to release the burdens that have weighed heavily on your shoulders for far too long, to surrender the disappointments that have clouded your vision, and to open your hands wide to receive the newness that heaven is pouring out in this very moment. Because this message that is about to enter your spirit is not just information, but transformation, an unveiling of spiritual truths that will recalibrate your understanding of who you truly are in Christ, a beloved child, chosen and called for extraordinary purpose. And as this truth dawns within you, a profound peace will flood your being, a peace that surpasses human understanding and transcends every storm you have ever faced, even those that continue to rage around you. For Jesus says, "I am your refuge and your strength, your ever-present help in trouble." And when you anchor your heart in this reality, the storms lose their power to shake you, and the winds of fear no longer dictate your course. Instead, you will begin to walk with a new boldness, a confidence born from the unshakable foundation of divine love and favor that surrounds you invisibly yet powerfully. And this is why, even now, as you receive these words, you may find unexpected courage rising in your spirit, a willingness to step forward even when the path seems unclear, because the Holy Spirit is illuminating your way, revealing hidden doors and divine appointments that you have not yet seen. And though you cannot yet trace every step, you are being called to trust in the one who holds every detail of your life in his hands, who knows every fear you harbor, and who delights in turning your mourning into dancing, your sorrow into joy, your setbacks into glorious comebacks. And as this message embeds deeper into your heart, you will begin to recognize the subtle shifts happening around you. Relationships mending, opportunities opening, prayers long thought forgotten resurfacing with new power and clarity, and dreams once shelved now flickering back to life with renewed hope. Because Jesus is not only speaking a message to your heart, he is releasing a spiritual activation, a catalyst that will propel you from a place of waiting into a season of fulfillment and breakthrough. And this activation is tailored uniquely for you, for your journey, for your calling, and as you prepare to receive it fully. Jesus encourages you to shed the cloak of comparison and the chains of past mistakes that have hindered your progress. For your story is unlike anyone else's and his. Grace is sufficient to cover every imperfection, every moment of doubt, every tear that ever fell silently in the night. And as you embrace this truth, you will find yourself rising above the noise of fear and doubt, stepping into a space of clarity and purpose where your faith becomes the engine driving you toward the destiny that was ordained before the foundations of the earth. A destiny that no one can steal or diminish because it is sealed by the very hand of God. And even when obstacles appear and enemies try to discourage you, Jesus reminds you that greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. And this message, this divine word you are receiving, will be your anchor and your sword in the battles to come, cutting through confusion, breaking strongholds, and illuminating the path to victory. So do not dismiss the stirring in your heart as coincidence or imagination, because heaven has timed this message perfectly for your life's turning point. And as you allow it to settle and grow within you, you will discover strength you never knew you had, peace that defies logic, and a joy that cannot be stolen. And when you stand firm in this revelation, your testimony will become a beacon to others still struggling in the darkness. Proof that no matter how fierce the storm or how long the night, the light of God's love always breaks through. And finally, as this message is received fully, Jesus promises that what is coming next will exceed all your hopes and dreams. Not because of your efforts, but because of his unfailing love. And he whispers to your soul, "Hold fast, beloved, your breakthrough is near, and I am with you every step of the way." As the fullness of this divine message takes root within your soul, Jesus invites you to hold onto this moment of sacred revelation with unwavering faith. For the journey ahead is a sacred pilgrimage from the shadows into the light, from the place of waiting into a season of unprecedented favor and restoration that only the hand of God can orchestrate. And though the path may still be veiled with uncertainties, the promise embedded within this message is sure and steadfast. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, and you are being prepared for a destiny so magnificent that every hardship you endured was but a chapter in the preparation of your greatness. And this message is more than words. It is a spiritual awakening, a call to rise above the limitations placed upon you by fear, doubt, or the voices of the past. Because Jesus is positioning you now on the cusp of a breakthrough that will ripple through every area of your life, awakening dormant dreams, restoring fractured relationships, healing deep wounds, and opening doors that no man can shut. And as you receive this truth, know that you're being surrounded by angelic hosts sent by heaven to guard your heart and mind, to fight battles on your behalf, and to guide you with wisdom that surpasses human understanding. So even when storms rage and the night feels long, remember that the light of Christ within you is brighter than any darkness, more powerful than any enemy, and it will lead you safely home to the place God has prepared for you, where joy flows like a river and peace reigns like a crown. And as you walk forward in obedience to this message, you will begin to see miracles unfold in your life. Miracles of provision when resources run low, miracles of healing when the body or heart feels broken, miracles of reconciliation when relationships seem beyond repair, and miracles of favor when every door that once seemed closed swings open wide, inviting you into a new realm of possibility. And all of this is wrapped in the unshakable truth that Jesus is with you always, his presence a fortress that cannot be breached, his love an unending river that refreshes your soul every morning, and his power the very force that turns your weaknesses into strengths and your failures into testimonies of victory. So do not grow weary or discouraged as you await these blessings, but stand firm in the promise that your prayers, especially the ones you thought were lost or forgotten, are being answered in ways you could never have imagined, because God's timing is perfect and his ways are higher than yours. And this message you have just received is a divine compass guiding you to your true north, to the destiny that has been written for you since the beginning of time, a destiny full of hope, purpose, and abundant life. And as you embrace this message fully, you will feel a profound shift within your spirit, an unexplainable joy bubbling up, a renewed passion burning, bright, and an unshakable peace settling deep in your heart that no circumstance can steal. And if you remain faithful to this call, the heavens will open and pour out blessings so immense that your story will inspire generations to come. A living testimony that no matter how hard the storms, your heart's readiness to receive God's message is what unlocks the door to miracles. So do not hesitate, do not doubt, but step boldly into this new chapter with the assurance that Jesus is walking right beside you, holding your hand, whispering words of encouragement and love. And as the angels celebrate your obedience in heaven, the entire universe aligns in your favor, preparing a harvest of blessings, favor, and divine encounters that will redefine your life forever. And in this sacred moment, Jesus leaves you with a final promise, one that will carry you through every trial and triumph from now on. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, my steadfast love will not depart from you, and my peace I leave with you, a peace that the world cannot give nor take away. So keep your heart open, your faith strong, and your eyes fixed on the eternal prize, for the message you have just received is the key that unlocks everything you have been waiting for. And your breakthrough, your miracle, your new life is closer than you think. Embrace it, walk in it, live it, because it is yours now and forever.